In the fiercely competitive world of American football, where strength, speed, and sheer determination collide on the gridiron, there are those players who strike fear into the hearts of opponents with every step they take. From bone-crushing hits to relentless aggression, these titans of the game have earned their place as the most intimidating figures in NFL history. In today's video, we're going to be counting down the top 10 most feared and intimidating players in NFL history. I'm sure you won't be able to hold back your fear right from number 10. Let's get started. Number 10, Jack Tatum. Are you curious about which NFL players nicknamed the Assassin in NFL history? No one deserved it except Jack Tatum. Jack Tatum earned the moniker the Assassin in the NFL due to his reputation for delivering devastating hits on the football field. His aggressive and hard-hitting style of play made him one of the most feared defensive backs of his era. Tatum's tackles were often characterized by their ferocity and impact, leading to numerous memorable collisions with opposing players. He became a true symbol of the Oakland Raiders' rough-and-tough guy persona, which was honed in the 70s. The Assassin helped build up the Raiders' reputation as hard hitters who would bend and even break the rules to win. Tatum unapologetically decimated opponents during his time in the position of safety. In Super Bowl VI in 1977, where the Raiders got their first championship, Tatum hit Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Sammy White so hard his helmet got knocked clean off his head. One of the most infamous incidents associated with Tatum occurred during a preseason game in 1978 when he collided with New England Patriots wide receiver Darryl Stingley. The hit left Stingley paralyzed from the neck down, sparking intense debate and controversy about player safety and the physicality of the game. Anyway, thanks to this nickname, Tatum was voted to 3 consecutive Pro Bowls from 1973 1975, and played on 1 Super Bowl winning team in 9 seasons with the Raiders. Number 9, James Harrison. Which NFL player makes you impressed with his scary frames? That brings us to James Harrison. James Harrison's most popular nickname is Silverback, and we all know that being in a cage with a silverback gorilla is beyond frightening. However, being in one with Harrison may be even worse. Quarterbacks always had to make sure where Harrison was lined up, or else their head might be taken off. Ever since his high school days, James Harrison has been a scary individual. During his senior year at Coventry High School in Ohio, he was suspended for challenging an assistant coach to a fight. During his initial stint with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, he was cut a total of 4 times, and he strongly considered not playing football. Luckily, by his talent, he's been selected to 5 Pro Bowls and was the Defensive Player of the Year in 2008. However, his nightmare-inducing play reached its pinnacle in 2010 when it seemed like he was getting fined every week for illegal hits. Whether it was his flipping of Vince Young, knocking out 2 Cleveland Browns receivers in 1 game, or numerous late hits to quarterbacks, players started to fear for their safety when Harrison was on the field. Another scary thing about James was his workout regime. When a man can leg press 1,100 pounds and plays volleyball with a medicine ball, then it takes the term scary to a whole new level. Number 8, Terrell Suggs. Have you ever read Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven? That is one of the most scary poems of all time. It involved a raven that kept saying nevermore to everything that the poem's narrator would ask it. But, you know, the version of this raven in football really existed since 2003, and he refuses to go away like that black feathered avian. No one other than Terrell Suggs is suitable for this image. He is a 6-time Pro Bowler, a former Defensive Player of the Year, and a member of the 100 Sacks Club. Suggs is also a Super Bowl champion and once got fined $5,512 for wearing a gladiator helmet during a pre-game preparation. By his 6 feet 3 inches frame combined with 265 pounds of violent intentions, he tortured opposing offenses for over a decade and has proven to be very good at it. Not only on the football field, his scare also showed off the field with many aggravated assault charges. He had to turn over his firearms arsenal to authorities, which included an AK-47. When a man as big and intense as Suggs also owns an assault rifle, it definitely qualifies as being scary. His impressive career winded down, but the level of fright that he generates is not. Terrell Suggs is still one of the top players to fear in the NFL. Number 7, Dick Butkus. Dick Butkus was the original monster of the Midway, and no one mastered the art of intimidation like Chicago's legendary middle linebacker. Butkus's speed, strength, and animal instinct are something out of a folktale. He snarled like a dog between plays and had an affinity for biting opponents in piles. As if his canine-like tendencies were not intimidating enough, he was also one of the most feared tacklers in league history, and he made it his mission to punish ball carriers on every snap. Opposing players had to be careful when speaking about Butkus and Chicago in interviews, as he used slights as a motivating factor. Lions running back Alty Taylor learned this the hard way during their second matchup in 1969, as he was forced into the stands to avoid confrontation with the linebacker after calling him overrated following their previous game. Butkus is only one of 3 linebackers who made multiple all-decade teams and is one of the greatest and most ferocious players in NFL history. Number 6, Ndamukong Suh. Coming out of college as a dominant player for the University of Nebraska, Ndamukong Suh was already a feared player. He won every major college award for a defensive player in 2009 and finished 4th in the Heisman Trophy voting. Therefore, it was assumed that his fear-inducing dominance would transfer easily to the NFL, and that's exactly what happened. Nearly ripping Delhomme's head off with a face mask penalty in a 2010 preseason game, pushing offensive lineman Evan Dietrich Smith's head into the ground 3 times, and stomping on his arm are the achievements that he made. Ndamukong was slapped with a 5-game suspension afterward, and he quickly became one of the least liked players in the NFL. Even though he seems to have turned over a new leaf since departing the Detroit Lions for the Miami Dolphins, Ndamukong Suh is easily one of the scariest players in the league. Number 5, Justin James Watt. Watt is like a modern-day Frankenstein, except that he's much more athletic. Standing at 6 feet 5 inches and weighing 289 pounds, he is a hulking figure that you would regret getting on the bad side of. Many opposing quarterbacks in the league have developed a fear of the number 99 because of Watt due to his ferocious tenacity on the defensive line. He's not only tenacious, but he's highly effective, as proven by his selection to the Pro Bowl on 4 different occasions. Watt is also a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year and a 2-time leader in sacks. Although battling a groin injury and a fractured left hand, Watt still led that league with 17.5 sacks. He also recorded 76 tackles and won the Defensive Player of the Year award. It's a scary thought to imagine what he would have done if he wasn't hurt. Number 4, Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis's sustained level of dominance is unlike anything the league has seen from the linebacker position, and he is one of few players who have made a Pro Bowl appearance in 3 different decades. Likewise, his intensity was also unmatched, and he played with reckless abandon, like every snap might be his last. The 13-time Pro Bowler helped the Ravens' defense become one of the most feared units in league history throughout the early 2000s. While Lewis may have been undersized for the position, you would never know it based on his playing style, as he laid more bone-rattling hits than anyone. Pass catchers had to be aware of his presence when going across the middle, and he regularly punished whoever was not. Number 3, Dick Lane. We are suckers for great football nicknames, and Dick Night Train Lane is an all-timer. Night Train is the reason we have the face mask penalty. Back in 1961, the cornerback threw running back John Arnett to the ground by the face mask so hard the league prohibited the technique the next year. Lane, who suited up for the Los Angeles Rams and Arizona Cardinals in addition to the Lions, was notorious for tackling around the head and neck, inspiring his unique method to be named the Night Train necktie. He's the driving force behind many illegal tackling rules in the game today. Number 2, Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor wasted no time in becoming one of the league's best pass rushers, as he is the only player who won the Defensive Player of the Year award during his rookie season. It's easy to make a case that Taylor is the best defensive player in NFL history. Likewise, one could also argue that he was also the league's most intimidating player, as his lightning-quick get-off gave offensive linemen nightmares, and he could tell who was assigned to block him by the look of fear in their eyes. Taylor had a similar psychological impact on opposing passers, as he knew if a play was going to be a handoff by gauging how nervous they were over his presence pre-snap. Number 1. Vontaze Burfict. Most NFL players look intimidating due to their musculature and intense behavior on the field. Therefore, the best way to define who the scariest ones are is to observe their style of play. When it comes to that aspect, no player in the league may be scarier than Vontaze Burfict. He's had the reputation of being a loose cannon, and his actions have proven it throughout his young career. It's scary to know that he's committed violations such as hitting a defenseless receiver, hitting a player in the groin, and allegedly twisting the ankles of players after a play was dead. After an illegal and intentional hit to Antonio Brown's head, Burfict has promised to change his style of play. However, unless he suddenly decides to change careers and become a priest, he will still be feared by many players, especially quarterbacks. It's not like he will dial down his intensity and take it easy on the opposition. He will simply avoid trying to decapitate players. However, this will not stop him from inflicting painful tackles, and you never know what may happen during the heat of competition. All right, what do you feel if you have to encounter one of these 10 players? Let me know who I forgot. A like and subscribe would mean the world to me. It's free. It really helps the channel out. It helps me get these types of videos to other NFL fans just like you. All right, see you later.